I'm just going to confirm that this is going. I'm just going to confirm that this is going. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Our webinar will begin in just a few minutes. While you're waiting, feel free to review our program information, which is located at csudh.edu/CEIE/HR. So we'll be with you in just a moment. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. My name is Anissa Barton-Thompson, and I'm the social media specialist for the College of Extended and International Education here at California State University, Dominguez Hills. I'll be your host for today's session, so welcome. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website and our social media resources shortly after today's session. Feel free to download the Human Resource Management Program Information Kit for details about the program and additional resources covered in this webinar. The address is bit.ly/CSUDH /HRM info kit. We have provided a link in the chat for those of you who are participating live, and it will also be available via a follow-up email to attendees as well as on our website. So, before we get started, what I'm going to do is review the Zoom controls. This session is being presented in a webinar format, so you don't need to worry about connecting your microphone or your camera or anything like that. However, we want your participation. So help us address your needs. Use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen if you're joining us via the Zoom desktop app or web browser, or in the top right of your screen if you're on a mobile device. Once you click the Q&A button, a dialog box will open allowing you to type your question, and please ask your questions in that Q&A panel rather than in the chat panel, which is where we're going to be providing helpful links and other information. Now, our marketing staff members, Stephanie Bukian and Keith Otterberg, as well as our program director, Elizabeth Legg, are standing by to assist us today. We'll be answering your questions at the end of the session, although often you may find the question you have has been answered during the course of the presentation. So with that being said, let's begin by certificate faculty who will introduce you to the program via an overview of benefits, expectations, and course details. Then we'll go over the registration information and tell you how to log in and address your questions in the final Q&A session. And please be aware that depending on the number of questions, we might extend the time to accommodate everyone. And now to kick off today's presentation, I'll turn it over to Jen Perez, who is one of our 4 insightful instructors for this program. Jen, take it away.
Thank you, Anissa. Hello, everyone. And I want to start by having us introduce ourselves. And if you look at the image on the screen, I am the one to the far left. My name is Jen Perez, as you can see here. And I've actually been with this program teaching for 8 years. And in human resources itself, I've been dealing with human resources for 25 years, mostly in different manufacturing industries at different levels, where currently I hold a director's position. And I'm actually a Cal State Dominguez alum, received my master's degree here many years ago. And I came back after a few years in the field and took the certificate course here, took the advanced, which is now the business partner. And I'm really happy that I did because it really helped me advance my career. Moving along to my right, I'm going to allow Jim to introduce himself.
Thank you, Jen. I'm Jim Vigneau. I was the first instructor for this program, which we started 26 years ago. And it is nothing like it was way back then. I am currently the Director of Human Resources and Administration for a nonprofit in Corona called Peppermint Ridge, where we support individuals 24/7 who are developmentally disabled. So it's kind of living the dream of working at a place where it's more mission than profit. Although I've spent nearly 40 years in human resources in just about every industry you could imagine. So that's what I'll be bringing to the programs as well. Jeanie, your shot.
Celebrating my 15th year here at Cal State Dominguez Hills. I've been in the industry for nearly 25 years, and I'm certified in HR. And I started out in the industry as a recruiter, went to work for a defense contracting firm, was there for about 9 years as HR manager. And in teaching at California State University, Dominguez Hills, it has been my pleasure and absolute honor to meet so many wonderful people from various industries who have actually returned to brush up on a lot of practice updates. So I look forward to working with you and to meeting you. Jen?
Thank you, Jeanie. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Linda. She was not able to make it with us tonight, but Linda has been with the team for 5 years, and she's been in human resources for over 30 years in different industries, such as the manufacturing, mostly in aerospace and defense. And currently she's in the e-commerce and warehousing distribution sector in both the union and non-union sections. She is amazing. With the introductions, let's move on to the outlook of the industry. And just a brief overview, HR is a very exciting field to be in. There is so many umbrellas under the field, such as health and safety, compensation and benefits, compliance, diversity and inclusion. I mean, there's just so much more to add to it. So wherever you are in the industry, it's very exciting and it's ever changing, and there's always a continual learning experience for you. So therefore, when you look at human resources, and if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics on there, we have had and continue to have a growth in the field, a more important role in the field. And we've seen about a 10% job growth over the past few years, and we continue to see growth in it. As far as, just having a career in it and salaries, it is a really great compensable industry, depending on the area that you're in and what role you play within the field. So let's look at our history within the program. Now, a little bit of history. As Jim said, he was like the first instructor here. He's actually our founding father of the program. He started the program 26 years ago in 1996, and he did such an amazing job with it that he made it such a program that would be relevant and maintain current to the time. So over the years since it started, we've been able to make it relevant, current, and even make changes that we need to so that everyone that participates can always take something back with them and make it to where they need to be at currently. So when we look at the target audience, it's for everyone. It is actually, all the programs are instilled for everyone, whether you're starting in human resources, whether you've been in it within a few months to a few years, whether you want to advance your career, which way you're looking at, it is for everyone that it rolls into. Even if you just want to learn about the legalities that happen within a business, it is for you. Now, these programs are pretty much hands-on. So we don't have a book that you really read into. When we have our courses, we will be in a discussion mode. So it's very current, what's happening, what's trending, what's changing right now in legalities. And we give you activities that you would actually participate in so that therefore, at the end of the day, you can take something back with you. If you're currently working, take it back to your office. If you are trying to promote yourself, utilize what you learn to show that you learned something and you know the industry. We have a high value investment return on these programs because why? Everything that you learn, you could take it back. Since we're real world, we're current, we make sure that we gear it to what's happening in the industry. And as you can see, we all are in the field, so we know what's going on. We continually train ourselves. We attend seminars, webinars, we're consultants. So we bring that to the table and we bring that to you so that you feel comfortable that you can take what you have, take it back to your office. And instead of having to invest in someone just review your programs and what you're doing, you can yourself take a look at it and update what you need to. So everything that we do is current, it is compliant, it's consistent, and we all teach exactly the same. We share with each other. So if you're taking a course with me, you could take it later with Jim, with Jeanie, with Linda, and we are all on the same page. And anything else that you feel that, we need to address with you, definitely we are happy with that. So, it is something that, we give and take. So, you can always take it back to your office. You will always take back with you, we will help you look at your policies, your handbooks, so all that you can review on your own. So it is such an amazing program to have. As far as the grading, we are CEU based. So therefore it is credit or no credit, which means it all based on your attendance, as well as if you are currently certified, this also helps towards your maintenance of your certification. Let's look at the programs that we do offer. So we offer 4 different programs, and the first program we have is our Human Resources Management program. And this program is basically the fundamentals. So we go through 4 different courses, and it's the fundamentals. So, this program is really geared for everyone that's starting, that's been thrown in human resources, that wants to upskill or have maintenance or just refresh themselves a bit. The business partner program looks at the whole course of human resources a little bit more strategically. And those of you that are currently in HR have seen this verb, what is our human business partner? What is it? So we go into that. We talk about being involved a little bit more in the business, taking what you know about HR and helping lead the organization. So this program is great for those of you that are ready to step out of your management role and see the organization as a whole. We also have our management and supervision program, which is an overview for anyone that is a current lead, is currently in management, is currently in supervision, or is hoping to promote within any of those fields, or just, wants to review what's happening within that field. So it's for anyone in that area. And then finally, we have our SHRM certification prep course. And this one is pretty much designed for those individuals seeking SHRM certification. It is a great thing for professionals who want to increase their knowledge and earn recognition in our global community of human resources. Now let's talk about how we deliver these courses. So we are weeknights. which is great for any of you that, are working. We do typically offer 1 night a week each session, and it's 3-hour class sessions. We are year round. And so therefore you can basically, because of the classes that we offer, you can complete your courses in as little as 2 months and be certified. We are, via Zoom. So we're not holding in-class sessions. Everything is via Zoom. So you can have these classes in the comfort of your own home, or sometimes you might be working late, you're in your office. So it makes it easy for everyone to have access to these classes. And we don't have books, so everything is via online, our learning management system that we call Blackboard here at Dominguez Hills. Let me talk to you a little bit more in depth about the HR Management Certificate Program. This program has 4 different courses, and each one, we'll talk a little bit about the fundamentals. So when we start this program off, we are discussing establishing HR systems. So what is this? We basically go into the evolution of human resources, where we went from just being clerical and party planners to where we are now and the importance of our roles. We look at talent acquisition principles, which here we're pretty much looking at the different elements, of sourcing, identifying, interviewing the right candidates that you need for the organization. And we go through a lot of activities in order to help us, interviewing guidelines and so forth. Performance reviews, we look at our next session because it's real critical and it's real important to ensure that the staff that you have is advancing and moving along. And then finally, we look at labor and employee relations. And here is where we look at, kind of standards of conduct, what your policies are. We review your handbooks, policies you might have in place, and what's real important to have in place within your organization. Once we finish establishing our HR systems, we move into total rewards. And total rewards is really your compensation and your benefits. And this is a super fun class because what we talk about is the foundations and what we need to look at. Right. And then we'll talk about building the pay systems and how we pay people, which includes the benefits, and includes all that time off. And then we have labs. And in these labs is really fun because we'll break you up in groups and we allow everybody's experience to come together and all work together so that you understand and be able to develop a program, within the class, but also be able to look at what you have currently at work and take that back with you. After this session, we move on to our next class, which is our labor and employment law. In the labor and employment law, this is a super fun course because we're talking about all our compliance. So everything about laws. So first of all, we talk about our fundamentals, which is all our workplace compliance laws. And then we go into the management systems, investigations, and the corrections. So here we're looking at discipline and the investigations and how to properly create one. So, we have a case study in regards to investigation and go through the steps of it. And how do we provide the proper discipline or correction, what may need to happen. Leaves management is the third course in this class. And then so basically here we know leaves in California is super confusing and there's so many and very complex. So we will break it down one by one and see how they all correlate together. Really fun activities here. And then the final session is our evening with a labor attorney. And here we have an amazing attorney that comes and assists us with our courses. You're able to ask questions. You have an attorney at your disposal for 3 hours to ask whatever question you may need. And he is just amazing and full of knowledge. The final session is our communication dynamics. And of course, we know communications is real important within an organization. So we discuss the foundations to begin with. We move into pervasive communication. So we teach you how to go from a no to a yes, how to get the team on board with your ideas, just how to advance in that. And we have different activities for that. And the final class, this one is only 3 classes. So we have our communication significance, where we break down the Hawthorne and the Pygmalion effect. And at the end, we have a really fun group activity in which we have to find out something. So I won't break it up so you have a surprise when you get there, but it's super, super fun. So with that sums it up, and I'll let Jim take over the business partner class.
HR Business Partner Certificate, as Jen had mentioned earlier on, really does focus much more on that more in-depth, more advanced, and more strategic aspect of human resources management. And we build the program very much like you would build a house. We start with the foundations of developing partnerships within the enterprise, within the organization. And how do you move from doing that day-to-day human resources work into that partnership with the organization, with its employees, and with its leadership, so that you become part of that leadership and part of the direction for that company and supporting its mission and direction. So we start with some of that strategic foundational items that starts off in in the first of 3 classes called Building the Partnership. So each of the sessions, it's a 6-session, 6-week course. And we start off with what you need to do in order to become an HR business partner. You have to learn the business. And then we move into building talent pipelines, because a primary function of human resources is being able to identify and bring in the skills and talent necessary to achieve your business goals. But we take a look at more than just what is the recruiting function. We take a look at how do you build channels or pipelines of talent into the organization, which has become even more and more challenging these days. Then we take a look at employee onboarding and engagement. Onboarding is not orientation, or orientation is not onboarding. We look way beyond orientation, and we look at the integration of new employees and engagement of those new employees as well as existing employees. Then we turn in the 4th session to earning C-suite trust. It's really earning that place at the table with the leadership within the organization. Following that, we take a look at human resource metrics and analytics. In our human resources management program, we do talk about metrics, we talk about measurements, but in this program, we take a look at what is the analysis associated with those measurements, and how do you use that analysis to better the organization and the achievement of organizational goals. Then we take a look at labor costing and budgeting. You really need to know the financial aspects of managing the human resources within an organization. So you have to understand labor costing and budgeting. Having worked on the foundational items of building the partnership, then we go into further developing it. All right, now that we've laid that foundation, now let's build the house upon that foundation. So we take a look at training and development, and not just what those programs are, but how training and development really can help to advance the organization. We take a look at coaching, counseling, and conflict resolution in our 2nd session. Again, this is a build or a deeper dive, actually, beyond what investigations and corrective action that Jen talked about previously in the other certificate program. We look at succession planning, which is an item that more and more organizations are looking toward, having human resources being able to build and to support within the organization. And then we wrap up developing the partnership with performance management systems and how those really can work. It is really something more than just getting your managers to do the annual reviews. What is really, how does performance management, how does that fit into an overall performance management program? And really, how do you make that part of the corporate culture? Now that we've built the foundation and we have developed a partnership, our 3rd class of 4 sessions goes into working the partnership. So we take a look at some very specific items that are very, very strategic in its approach and somewhat unique as well. We look at project management. How do you manage a project? How can you help provide project management direction for the organization? A really good human resources manager is an excellent project manager, but you really need to have the basics of project management down. So we take a look at how do you manage resources, deadlines, timeframes, actions, who does what when, kind of a situation under good, solid project management best practices. Then we move into change management. One of the things that a human resources professional has to face is the fact that they become a change agent within the organization. So how can you manage change effectively and be successful in that change management? Our last two sessions go into something rather unique and specialized. The third session takes a look at ethics within human resources. HR is very often looking at ethics within the organization, but this particular program looks at what happens when you face an ethical dilemma as an HR professional or an HR manager or leader. And what are you going to do? How do you achieve making that decision or a determination or taking the action that is the best action to take within that ethical dilemma? So we take a look at a number of those dilemmas as case studies within that session. And then finally, we wrap up with something that not a whole lot of HR professionals have the ability or have had the opportunity to experience, and that's taking a look at labor management relations. Again, this is a build on the HR management certificate session where we talk about labor relations. But in this particular course, and in this session, we actually divide the class up and you will negotiate a mini contract, and the efforts and the actions of going through a negotiation, and it gets pretty intense at times, even within a classroom situation of negotiating a labor contract, and it's just a small one. And but do you come to agreement? Do you reach impasse, and do they blow up the rat? Which you're going to have to look that one up or take the class to learn what we mean by that. But it's an experience that if you're not in a union or a mixed union, non-union environment, that you don't get the chance to go through. So this gives you that actual practical experience of being able to go through it. So it's a very unique, strategically oriented course. And it's a little more advanced. It's really recommended for those individuals that have a good basic working knowledge of human resources or are looking to advance into more of that strategic, more advanced level of human resources knowledge and skills. It really is a good follow-on to the HR management certificate. The third course that we have takes a look at management and supervision. It's not a purely human resources class, but it is HR for managers and supervisors. It's how do you manage the team. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeanie to talk a little bit about that one.
Thanks very much, Jim. This is an 8-week program at 2 courses with 4 sessions each. This course is designed for anyone who is either a new or seasoned manager or an individual who wants to learn about what being a manager is all about. In the first session, we first define the term management and then segue into defining the term manager, outlining distinctions between leaders and followers in terms of relevant tasks and functional dynamics. We discuss how managers are deemed successful, emphasizing people and communication skills. Then in the second session, we then talk about the benefits of a diverse workforce. Embracing differences can result in an employer's competitive advantage through recruiting, hiring, marketing, and increased revenues. We also discuss the effectiveness of frequent manager training as it relates to allaying certain workplace lawsuits while building effective internal employee relationships. Then we talk about legal aspects of management. Managers are a company's first line of defense, and so they need to understand the importance of an effective risk management program that include enhanced safety, security, and compliance policies, particularly as they apply to our current COVID-19 realities, and could include decision-making elements related to discrimination, harassment, retaliation, and workplace accidents. We finally talk about in the first course, the effective selection interviewing. Employees are considered the most valuable and expensive workplace asset. So to that end, selecting the very best talent should be deemed an investment in the company's future. We deep dive into the behavioral interviewing process, which statistically has resulted in successful long-term hires through a candidate's demonstration of his or her past performance and experience. So now let's look at course 2, which relates to more team-oriented management. In the first session, we talk about change. What is change? What causes change? What influences change? We segue from identifying individuals' managers' contributions in course 1 to the team development and demonstrate collaborative approaches to a change management scenario within the team paradigm. Then we talk about performance management. This session addresses various performance management process components, their functions, methodologies, and of course, metrics. Students are encouraged to share scenarios from their current or previous workplace experiences, which usually promote very illustrative comparative discussions, particularly emphasizing elements unique to specific industries, maintaining the rule of thumb that one size does not fit all. Then we talk about communication. We talk about the basics, fundamentals of communication. One of the most important business skills, yet presents the most workplace challenges. We break down fundamentals through understanding such concepts of business versus social communication, nonverbal communication, communication styles, understanding the audience, adapting your own style to benefit your desired outcome. And finally, we talk also about influencing. And this is probably the most fun session. Students learn about the influencing model. They talk about an other person's point of view, coming as close to 50-50 as possible in negotiating positions. Students demonstrate through a final in-class task, and I'll leave that as a surprise like Jen did, that involves the entire class in one very, very fun, very informative communication, shall we say, roundtable. This concludes the description of our management and supervision course, and I shall now describe the SHRM course. The SHRM certification is a professional designation powered by the Society of Human Resource Management, formerly called the American Society for Personnel Administration, which was founded in 1948 by a group of 28 individuals. SHRM's mission is to elevate the HR profession, to empower people in workplaces by advancing HR practices and by maximizing human potential. It accomplishes its mission in part through its certification process. SHRM offers 2 certification designations based on a core set of competency and knowledge principles outlined in the SHRM body of applied skills and knowledge, known as the SHRM BASC. The SHRM CP and the SHRM SCP certifications provide credential holders with a roadmap for achieving vital outcomes leading to personal and organizational success. We'll talk more about the value of SHRM CP and SHRM SCP and provide details about each of these certifications and how our prep course can help prepare and succeed each candidate at the exam. Why pursue SHRM certification? It demonstrates to employers that an HR professional has current and relevant skills and competencies, and it provides a universal standard that is recognized around the globe. It delivers an opportunity to learn practical skills and competencies to impact your job immediately, and it validates proficiency as a business leader by testing knowledge and how you use that knowledge. The SHRM CP and SCP certifications signify mastery of the HR competencies and knowledge that are defined in the SHRM body of applied skills and knowledge, again, the SHRM BASC. This SHRM BASC represents the evolution of the SHRM competency model by further defining the knowledge areas in addition to the behavioral competencies. This SHRM model was developed through a series of large-scale research studies that incorporated the viewpoints of thousands of HR professionals from around the world. It was most recently updated in 2021 and now includes 9 behavioral competencies as well as 1 technical competency. This SHRM BASC competency model is the fundamental foundation of the SHRM exam. You may ask, which exam is best for me? Let's look at the SHRM CP. The exam is designed to assess competency levels of HR work of an operational nature. It includes implementing HR policies, supporting day-to-day HR functions, serving as an HR point of contact for staff and stakeholders. With the SHRM SCP, the SHRM Certified Professional, this exam is designed to assess competency level of those who engage in HR work in a more strategic role, which include developing HR policies and/or procedures, overseeing the execution of integrated HR operation, directing an entire HR enterprise, and leading the alignment of HR strategies to organizational goals. Please refer to your information toolkit for additional details about the process of becoming SHRM certified, including testing windows, application process, testing format, and more. Individuals who perform HR and/or HR-related duties and wish to verify, validate, enhance, or expand their HR capabilities are likely eligible for SHRM CP or SHRM SCP certification. SHRM membership is not required. Individuals do not need to be employed at the time they apply. For the SHRM CP, the HR title is not required. No degree is required. Previous HR experience is not required. However, with all that having been said, basic working knowledge of HR practices, principles is highly recommended. For the SHRM Senior Certified Professional or the SHRM SCP, individuals with a work history of at least 3 years, totaling 1,000 hours per calendar year from January through December, performing strategic level HR and HR-related activities and duties. Please note that more than 1,000 hours in a calendar year does not equate to more than 1 year of experience. Part-time work qualifies as long as the 1,000-hour per calendar year standard is met. Work experience may be at salary or hourly pay classification. The SHRM CP holders credentialed for 3 years or more and transitioning to strategic level role may also be considered for the SHRM SCP designation. What about HR consultants? Individuals who are HR consultants may demonstrate qualifying experience through the HR and HR-related duties they perform for their clients. Contracted hours must meet the 1,000-hour standard, which I previously described. Again, please refer to your information toolkit for additional details. Significant commitment is required for success in the SHRM certification exams. We present a 12-week instructor-led course to help applicants prepare to pass the exam and become certified. The class offers an interactive learning environment using the SHRM learning system. Each student also receives a detailed syllabus outlining specific SHRM course and completion certificate requirements. We at California State University, Dominguez Hills are most proud of our exam passing rates. They have been higher than the national average, which has been 58 to 67%. Our reported results have been around mid-70s to the low 80s. Who should attend? Those already working in HR and seeking to advance their HR practices and are preparing for professional certification. Also, those transitioning into an HR career and who possess a working knowledge of HR practices and principles. This course is not about learning HR. Its primary purpose is to ensure each student's exam success through a continued question and answer practice regimen presented in an HR-focused examination testing environment. This is not to say, however, that course attendees will not learn something new. Indeed, each class presents opportunities for participants to identify new, more effective and efficient approaches to performing their functions and tasks via introductions to an array of HR terms, concepts, questions, and case studies within the interactive learning dynamic. Courses are offered during the fall and spring semesters, coinciding with SHRM's 2 testing windows. The first window of the year is May 1st through July 15th, and the second window occurs from December 1st through the following February 15th. For students registered in our course, SHRM will provide electronic access to SHRM's learning management system, and SHRM will also send hard copy materials directly to registered students. Because of this, applicants are encouraged to enroll at least 10 to 14 days before the course start date. Please refer to your information toolkit for specific dates and times. And now I'm going to return the microphone to Jen, who will summarize the programs we have just presented for your consideration. Jen?
Thank you, Jeanie. And in summary, our certificate programs will bring you the real world into the classroom, meaning we are all in the industry. So we're bringing you current events, past events that relate to the workplace are really important that you take in and review. We have a very high educational return on investment, and based on experience from myself, when I was taking the certificate courses myself, I would actually, what I learned, I was able to apply it to my workplace, and which helped my own professional growth in my own workplace. And we maintain compliant, current, and consistent. We review every semester the programs to ensure we're giving you the most up-to-date information that we have. And with that, thank you very much for joining us, and I will give it back to Anissa.
Thank you so much, Jen, Jeanie, and Jim. We appreciate all of your fantastic insight. And we want to come back to our instructors in just a moment, but right before we jump into the Q&A, we're just going to go over a few quick registration and course information in detail. So almost all of our CSUDH extended education programs are being offered in an online format, which means that students are assigned online access through our campus's IT services. Each student will need login credentials to access our student portal, which is called My CSUDH. This portal includes Blackboard, our learning management system, where course content is distributed, Toro Mail, which is our Gmail-based students' email system, and of course the Zoom web conferencing tool. Now these login credentials, which consist of your username, your email account, and your password, are issued through our registration office approximately 2 to 3 business days after registration in your first course. Now, once you've received your login information, you'll be able to easily access the Toro student portal to connect with your class. Registration is available from our Extended Education Registration Office Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Pacific Time. If you've taken a course at CSUDH in the past 2 years, you may register online using your current existing my.csudh.edu account. Now, we highly recommend that you register early to make sure that there's space in the course and to allow enough time for course information and online access to be created and distributed. Payment is due at the time of registration, and you can pay for courses individually or for multiple courses at once. The federal WIOA, that's WIOA, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, provides funding through the California Employment Development Department for qualifying students who are currently employed or seeking career training. For more information, please email wioa@csudh.edu or visit our program website for more information. If you need any additional financial assistance, please Google private student loan providers or connect with sallymay.com for student loan details. And we recommend you register at least 1 week before the course begins. Once you have received your login information, you'll be able to easily access the Toro Student Portal to connect with your class, check your Toro mail and your personal emails frequently to get special instructions and campus notifications. You'll also want to be sure to test your account access in Blackboard and get comfortable with the layout of the class, such as where to find announcements, Zoom meeting schedules, discussions, and the like. And let us know via our academic technology resources if you have any difficulty connecting. Now we'll get ready for our Q&A with our instructors. So I'm going to ask all of the instructors to go ahead and unmute yourselves, and we'll come on and take a look. And we like to get started with a few precursor questions. And usually the question that comes to mind, everyone wants to know, how do you get hired in HR if you don't have any current experience? And I'm going to ask Jim to start off with that particular question, and everybody to just give a short answer, and then we'll go into our Q&A segment.
Okay, thanks, Anissa.
Okay.
Really, a major part of it is, first of all, getting the education, is knowing everything that you can gather about human resources management. That's what these courses do. As Jen mentioned, they are very practically oriented. This is not a lot of theory. This is real hands-on kinds of instruction. You walk away with real world skills, items. You walk away with a basic handbook. You walk away with a comp plan. You walk away with enough material that that you could probably hire a consultant for about $25,000 to get you all of this stuff, or you can take the course. But you also want to be able to sell transferable skills. If you haven't been in human resources, but you've been doing other jobs that it might be customer facing, that is dealing with issues or problems within the workplace, those are transferable skills. And all of our instructors have actually spent time, both in class and even outside of class with with a lot of our participants in helping them build a resume, helping them with mock interviews, how to answer questions, how to present themselves in a way that says, hey, I'm going to be really good as an HR professional or as an HR contributor.
Absolutely. Okay.
And
Jeanie, go ahead.
if you're in California, and you're in HR and you want to get into HR, even if you're early in your career or if you're wanting to explore, it would be a really good idea to join an association like Professionals in Human Resources Association, otherwise known as PIRA, which also provides incredible networking opportunities. You learn from people who have been in the industry for a while. You bond with people like yourselves who may be new to the HR practice, but you learn a lot. There are so many wonderful opportunities out there. And if you're certified, there are many programs such as ours here at Cal State Dominguez Hills, which offer certification opportunities. And all of our courses are indeed outside, of the shrmprep course. But for those of you who are already certified, you can come back and take our courses for recertification as well.
Excellent. Jen, do you want to add anything to that?
I would just say be open. We all start somewhere. When I started my career in human resources, I started off as like a / clerk receptionist. I had some, like Jim said, transferable skills, and I sold myself that way, that I had great customer service. I was able to deal with people, different situations, and sold myself in that role. So I was given the opportunity to start in that. And then from there, just build yourself and show that you want to learn and gain everything that you can, and, join one of our programs, join, PIRA, and then from there, build your network.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the Q&A questions, and something that's tied into how you just said, Jen, that you started in a different area and then worked your way into this. So Sajida wants to know, what is the best sector of HR to pursue if the goal is to be an HR manager? What would your take be on that, Jen? I'll start with you.
I think you just start anywhere. Being a manager means that you know a little bit of it all. So usually you become more of a generalist, in my opinion. And it means that, when I started learning it, did the paperwork, which is understood the files and the documents that went with it and was being able to go in which location. From there, I learned the safety and health compliance and went into payroll. So a little bit overall. So I'm not a specialist in anything, but in general, I know, overview of everything, which helped me lead into the management role so I can have oversight.
Okay. Jim, I have a question from Roma, who is asking you specifically. They said, I am pursuing my master's in business analytics. Would you recommend the HR business partner certificate for that?
It depends upon how much HR knowledge you have. You would have the ability to research and to analyze, which would come out of your master's program. But if you're brand new to human resources, it really would be better to pull in those foundational items that we cover in the HR management certificate course, and then move into the human resources business partner if you don't have that HR specific background or knowledge.
Okay, and Roma adds that their undergrad also lies in business management. But that actually brings up a good question. Does someone have to have a bachelor's or a master's degree in order to enter any of these particular certificate programs?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, I see all the heads nodding no, or going no.
Yep.
So you can come in with just a general interest, a general background, no prior degree required, and that would be sufficient to start the program.
Absolutely. You come in with some enthusiasm and passion, you're 80% there already.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, Roma says, so many good choices. Please recommend the appropriate program. Everybody always asks this question too. The appropriate program or certificate for students who are pursuing a master's degree, whether it's in business or not.
Wow.
Again, it really depends upon what your emphasis might be.
Yeah.
The HR business partner really is very strategic in its approach. It does deal with very specific items, as you saw the topics that we went through, but it's a deeper and more analytical and strategic dive. But the HR certificate program has some tremendously strong and good in-depth information on all of the things that you would really want to be able to take a look at in how do you manage people within an organization. And you're looking at team management. What are the legal aspects of it? What are the parameters of being able to problem solve and to communicate and to be able to work within a team? That's a very strong orientation in the primary program of human resources management. So again, if you don't have an emphasis in human resources in your degree programs, whether it's at the undergrad or the postgrad level, there's a tremendous amount of real solid information on managing people within the organization that you can pull out of the HR certificate program. And then you can go strategic on the business partner.
If I can dovetail what Jim is saying, please
Definitely.
remember that our programs are practicum oriented, meaning that they are that the approach is really about the practice, the applications of what your knowledge is. You're applying through various approaches, through various applications. That's the only word I can come up with here. But when we talk about the prep course, for example, we talk about competencies. And so when you're in any profession, be it management or HR or whatever your concentration is, there are competencies involved with all of those. So the applications of those competencies are really crucial to the practice. And all of our courses are practicum based. So, and highly interactive and very supportive.
And speaking of supportive, so we have Suchitra. She says, I have 4 years of work experience in HR. However, I have completed 4 years of bachelor's in engineering in her home country. Which program would be better for me in Canada? So now we're crossing international space, right?
You thought California was tough. Go, deal with HR in Toronto. I had responsibility for Canadian operations, and it was a little frightening. And it was very, again, it's sort of like California HR and labor law on steroids when it comes to Canadian labor and employment law. That's about all I can say on that.
But if they had to pick a particular program to get started, that would be applicable to outside of the United States.
HR management program, because again, we have a California orientation, which means that there's going to be more than what you have at a federal level. Jeannie's HR or certificate prep class, that's based upon federal law, okay? And so you have to kind of distinguish between them. We don't have a specific Canadian orientation, but the fact that we integrate both federal and California law will put you very strongly in the ballpark for being able to deal with human resources, north of the border. And again, I would go back to how much HR knowledge, basic HR knowledge, do you have versus if you have none or very little, go for the HR management certificate. If you have a good basic working knowledge, then you can move into the HR business partner course.
Excellent. We have a question from Jeanie, who says, are there programs available or are there courses you recommend for IPMA HR? I have been told that for government agencies, it is more geared that way. So any familiarity with that part?
Interesting. Not, certainly not through our school, our campus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But there are certain, I don't have information in terms of our campus. That's not what we concentrate on. If you're looking at the international arena, of course, SHRM is global. And certainly if you were to take, as I mentioned, a shrmprep course, then it does tie in some international themes. And we kind of talk about global business and how and some of the HR competencies that apply to global offices, global locations.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think business partner for IPMA focused, if you're going to have that focus on an IPMA, then I would say that the strategic class will probably cover more of those, the business partner class will cover more of those issues than would the basic HR certificate course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Quick question asked from Sajida says, what is the average class size for the 4 different programs?
I think that varies.
It does.
Mhm.
It does. Currently, I have a dozen people in my HR business partner course, which is wrapping up here in the next 2 weeks. But Linda has something like 42
It was
people in her
42.
HR management class. And so, and we've had everything in between those numbers.
Mhm.
Because we're virtual, it makes it a little bit easier. We used to have, I mean, limited chairs and tables in the classrooms, but it does change the dynamic. You know, with 10 people, you can really do some deeper dives. With 30, 35 people, it makes it a little bit more difficult to go there because we want to be able to address the questions and the concerns and the issues of all of our students, and all of our instructors. And Jen, you can probably back me up on this pretty strongly. We tweak the material to the needs of our students and of our class.
Mhm.
If we have a lot of veterans in there, we're going to take a different approach than than a class that is primarily made up of people who are looking to get into HR,
Right.
versus again where you have a mix of those individuals.
Right.
I will chime in the fact that SHRM class is different. We keep it no more than 25. We go anywhere from 20 to 25 because of the fact that it is prep, because of the format. I've had to tweak the format of the class in order to address the concerns, the questions, and all the applications of the exam.
Mhm.
And so because of that, the engagement has really grown. It's really increased because of the attention, and also the virtual format has really also aided in increasing engagement among the students. They've really enjoyed that. The buddy system, the study buddy system has really improved among the students themselves.
Just by the nature of the online, the virtual.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're
Well,
going through it together.
Speaking of SHRM, so you know there's always an onslaught of SHRM questions. So I'll start off with this one. Do you recommend the SHRM prep course for recruiters?
I recommend the SHRM prep course for anybody going into any part of HR, period. Because a recruiter, an effective recruiter, has to know elements of industry, has to know, all about behavioral interviewing techniques, how to assess talent pools, talent acquisition. I mean, it goes through all the competencies. So if you're going into recruiting, yes, the SHRM prep course would offer a lot of information for that, for a recruiter.
Okay. And along those lines, Daisy asks, she says she has 6 years in an HR position, currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in healthcare management, and wants to know, should she go for an HR business partner or the SHRM CP?
Jen, oh, go ahead,
Jen,
Jim.
go for it.
Jen?
Well, it really depends on where she sees herself going, but the business partner is a really great course. I love it. You gain a lot of insight and information. I mean, I would say you take the business partner and then move on into a prep course to be certified. I mean, that's my honest belief. Anything else,
Okay.
Jim, you want to add? Or
That covers it pretty well.
Absolutely.
And for the person who is looking to get in, what is the process for demonstrating that they qualify for the SHRM SCP class? And I know we had a criteria bit
There
of
is.
information.
If you've had 3 years of working experience in HR, if you've gone into, understand that the SCP, we used to have kind of like a little bit of humor involved with the letters, with the acronym. Some people would say it's senior certified professional. Others would say it's strategic certified professional. So understand that the SCP is more, pointed toward, it's more focused on the strategic element. And rather than working only with existing policies, existing procedures, you're in there, you're developing it, you're creating it on the basis of the operation of your business. So that's really the main distinction. And if you have on the SHRM website, they have the eligibility criteria in more detail as well.
Right. Here's another attendee who says, I'm looking to get SHRM certified. I am fairly new to HR. Do you suggest taking the HR management course prior to taking the SHRM prep course?
That actually, if I look at my own level of absorption, if you haven't had a true working knowledge of HR, then I would say the HR management course is a wonderful way to start. And then you can go into the SHRM CP prep. It really is. I mean, our HR management course is just really outstanding for people coming in the introductory area. There's no question about it. Over and over, we've received so many compliments about how well prepared our students have been who have come into HR for the first time. So that would be my recommendation. Jen and Jim, chime in.
You're good.
Good.
Okay, Sajida asks, but I'm not sure what she's referring to. She says, does this course apply for the PHR as well? I'm assuming that she may be referring to the SHRM prep.
Yes, she is. Understand that there have been some changes over the last 5 years in terms of both. Okay, SHRM and HRCI used to be together. Okay, HRCI, the Human Resource Certification Institute, the designation of PHR, Professional and Human Resources, that's HRCI. That is not affiliated with SHRM. We've had students, by the way, who have taken our SHRM prep class and have gone ahead and they've passed both. They have passed both the SHRM exam as well as the HRCI exam.
Okay. All right.
But it's
and is the HR certification, either PHR or SHRM, sufficient, or is a master's necessary to be successful in HR?
Oh boy.
At a time.
I love this
They're
question.
planning ahead.
I love this question because recent statistics coming out of various HR publications, people in the industry, colleagues, our HR gurus, everybody is saying that employers now, they want HR professionals, when they hire them, they want them on the ground running. And so they are finding out statistically, there is some documentation and demonstration that is showing evidence, reflecting evidence that the certifications, those who are certified, are indeed up and running, and they are, it's an immediate transformation from one level to the next. And you don't have to have a master's or a postgraduate degree, but the employers are looking more toward the demonstration of HR experience rather than only the theoretical. Okay, so I always think of the academic side as more theoretical, and then when you have the practicum side, like what we have to offer, plus then a prep course, then you're demonstrating your knowledge and experience and then application. All right, excellent. Jen and Jim, you wanted to...
If I can chime in on that, when I started my career in HR, I had not been degreed yet. So I had taken an HR certificate course. So I took that. I was in college at the time. And from there, I just started building up. And my employer side, as I was looking at growth and being that I was understood it and knew what I was doing and just had basic questions, they helped me grow and they helped me with my education piece of it as well. So from my own experience, I kind of did it backwards. I got, working and then worked my way into my degrees.
Okay. Jim, anything?
Jim?
He's good. He's like, we covered
You
it.
don't need the masters.
Don't.
You don't. No, you just have to be able to do it. You have to have the competencies, and you need to be able to know how to do it and be able to actually do it. Okay, that's why I love these courses, because they are, as Jeannie said earlier, they're very practical in their orientation. It's real world. It's not theory. It is real world. Everything that we teach. So
Absolutely.
And I'm just
that
letting
gives you the do part of it, not the know part of it.
right. I'm just giving you the heads up. Everybody in the chat is saying yay. They're glad. They're happy about that. That's good to know. And I have one final question in our Q&A that says that this person is currently an HR manager with 4 years of experience in their position. Would you recommend a business partner program to build upon the current position as well, if they're already working in that?
Probably. If they're pretty comfortable with, knowing the basics, and if they've been 4 years as an HR manager, they've got some pretty good practical experience. I would say that the business partner is definitely the class that will stretch them.
Okay.
I would like to dovetail on that as well. The neat thing about all of this is the fact that even if you've had a certain number of years of experience, let's say management, when you come into the business partners class, or any of our classes actually, again, because it's practicum, because you're meeting other people also who are working. The majority of our students are actually working in HR, and therefore the engagement, the information exchange, the interaction among the students as well as the instructors, we are gaining current knowledge. What are the business trends? How do you handle scenarios, situations, etc.? And remember that the primary basis of a manager is to develop and build your people. It is a very people-oriented position. And so that's what management's about. And if you want to come into business partners, yes, do it.
Well, I think based on the chat, they're appreciating that they get a feel for how this really works and how you guys are as instructors. And we so appreciate the time that you've put into this. Thank you for giving all of your insight, your experience. And I think that totally covers what the program is really all about, what these HR programs are fully encompassing with you guys. So thank you again. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and turn us back into the closing of our session. So I just wanted to add in that in order to take your next steps to get registered, you simply need to call our Extended Education Registration Office at 310-243-3741 and click on option 1. And remember that if you've been a student here at Dominguez Hills recently, you can simply log into your My CSUDH portal to register for your courses online. If you have any additional questions, feel free to call us during our business hours at 310-243-2075, or you can email us at learn@csudh.edu. And so this concludes our HR Management Programs Information Session. And we want to thank everyone for joining us today, for giving us those great questions, for all of the participation. We really appreciate that. And again, feel free to connect with us on our website, via our social media, on our Facebook and our LinkedIn group. And remember to register early to get your spot in your class, to get your preferred spots. So we'll stay in the session for just a few more minutes while we give everyone a moment to jot down any last minute notes, download HR information kit if you need to from the chat panel. And the recording for this session is actually live on our YouTube channel, and we'll go ahead and make that available as well. And it'll also be on our website and our social media shortly after the session. Now, we'd love to get your feedback on today's session, so please let us know how we can improve the quality of the information provided by visiting bit.ly/CSUDH www.hrlaw.org/CSUDH-webinar-feedback. And you'll also be taken to the link at the end of the session, and it will be provided in a follow-up email as well. When you're ready, simply click the red leave button at the corner of your screen and you can exit the session. And once again, we thank you for joining us today. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you in class. Thanks, everyone. Take care.